Welcome. The Mac desktop in some ways is similar to the PC desktop, in which it contains various icons and easy to access programs. The biggest difference between a Mac and PC desktop are the top and bottom portions of the screen. Let's take a look and review some of these differences. The top left portion of our desktop has what's called the menu toolbar. The menu toolbar begins with the Apple logo. As we select the Apple logo, we'll notice we have a number of options available to us. The first one is about this Mac, which lets us know what are our system requirements and the specifications of the system. If we want to create a software update, we can do so right here as well. We're able to see our operating system, our system preferences, and our dock environment, which is actually a feature that's covered later on within this module. We're able to see our recent items, which are items that, of course, we recently accessed. And one item here that I think will be beneficial to many of us is the force quit item. This is the equivalent of the PC environment Control Alt Delete, better known as our reboot. The Apple logo also gives you the ability to sleep, restart, shut down, or log out of your computer. You'll also notice to the right of that Apple logo, there's a menu item, and that menu item represents whatever program you currently have open. For example, I have Adobe Captivate open, therefore the menu item represents Adobe Captivate. However, if I had iTunes opened, the iTunes menu option will then appear. Let's take a look at some of the items that are located on the top right portion of the screen. The first item we're going to take a look at is this guy right here, and as I click on it, we'll see that this guy allows us to open our time machine preferences. The time machine is Apple's equivalent of your backup feature. Next to that, we have an item over here that allows us to access our Bluetooth preferences. To the right of that is an extremely important item, and that item is called Airport. Airport is the equivalent of your wireless networks. Looking at your airport, you're able to access various wireless networks throughout your area, including your own. To the right of that is an icon many of us are familiar with, that speaker icon that controls the volume on our computer. This is also something that you've seen constantly within the PC environment within your system tray, and basically it works exactly the same. Next to that, you'll notice I have the American flag. This represents the type of characters that are typed in my computer. So when I use my keyboard, it's using the English American language. Next to that, we have something that's extremely important to you road warriors. We have your indication of your battery utilization. You'll see a graphic on how much battery life you have left. You'll see a numeric representation. And what I think is really cool about this, you actually have the exact amount of time that you have remaining on your battery. To the right of that, you have your date and time. And once again, this is also an item that should be familiar to you from the PC environment. This item is typically located on your system tray, which is on the lower right corner within your PC environment. To the right of that, we have a new guy here that looks like a magnifying glass. And for any of us who are accustomed to computers, the magnifying glass typically indicates a search. Well, this is no different, except this search is called a spotlight. As I click on this, you'll notice this item comes up and it reads Spotlight. What Spotlight allows me to do is search my Macintosh computer straight from here without opening any additional programs and search for either a document, folders, programs, anything that I'm looking for. So let's say I'm looking for a document that's called Switch. As I type in the word Switch, notice some items for Switch appear. So I have some documents here for Switch. I even have a folder for Switch. And funny enough, there was a music group back in the 70s called Switch, and some music coming up for Switch as well appears. This is the top portion of your screen. Next, we'll take a look at some other items within the desktop environment. Next, let's take a look at some of the items that come on your desktop automatically when you first get your Macintosh computer. By default, one item should appear on your desktop, and that item is called the Macintosh HD, which stands for hard drive. This is a shortcut which Apple commonly refers to as an alias. If you want to see the Next, let's take a look at the bottom portion of the screen, which is called the dock. This feature is similar to the Windows taskbar. The icons on the dock represent either an application or a folder. When minimizing an application, the application will be placed to the right side of the dock. You can add an item to the dock by selecting the item and clicking and dragging the item to the dock. For example, let's say I want to add the calculator to the dock. I'm going to come over here to my Finder option, and I'm going to come over here into Applications. And from Applications, I'm going to select the calculator, and I'm going to click and hold my mouse, and I'm going to drag that calculator down to my dock, and notice it made me click mouse and choose the option Remove from Dock, and the option will then be removed. Please note, removing an item from the dock does not permanently delete the item from your system. It only removes the icon from the dock. The Mac desktop differs from the PC desktop as it relates to the placement of items. However, much of the functionality remains the same. As you become accustomed to your Mac, you will find these differences to be minimal and will enjoy your Mac as intended. Thank you for attending. For additional courses, please visit us at straightuplearning.com.